Right now, though, we're going to talk to British public speaker David Icke, a man who believes that the Brotherhood originates from reptilians. He'll be telling us who really is controlling the world.
It says you like to talk about who and what is really controlling the world. Now, for a lot of us, that would be, there must be politicians and bankers. But does it go higher and deeper than that?
Well, 21 years ago, I was reading the news, sitting in studios like this, saying hello, good evening, welcome, and my life transformed. It took a long time to talk about, but it did, and it set me on a journey of an amazing synchronistic journey of information and people and experiences coming to me, which made it very clear, and 21 years later, my goodness me, the evidence for it, the fine detail evidence is overwhelming, that actually a very few people are directing life on this planet. It's about 13 families and all the offshoot networks that go from them. And they sit on top of a global network that dictates to every country. And it's the way they've done it is this, and this is why politicians are not the point where decisions are made. They are the here today, gone tomorrow vehicles for those decisions made in the shadows to become changes in society through legislation. It's like if you think of a transnational corporation like McDonald's. You've got the headquarters of McDonald's, and that dictates to all the subsidiaries of McDonald's in every country. So if you go into a McDonald's in Moscow or Melbourne or anywhere, Johannesburg, you're going into the same McDonald's. And what they've set up is a network just like that, involving bloodline families and their gophers and agents and a secret society network.
And how long do these families go back?
They go back thousands of years. They go back into a number of parts of the world, but the one that seems to be most significant is what we now call Iraq or Sumer, Mesopotamia, Babylon. And they have created this structure whereby the center of the web is in Europe, to an extent in America, but nothing like you'd think it was. To a large extent, the guns for America are loaded in Europe and they're shot by America, and then people say it's all America. And when I say Europe, I'm not saying the governments of Europe, they're here today, gone tomorrow, politicians. I'm saying the centre of this web, which is like the city of London, the financial district, Rome, Paris, Brussels, Germany. And in every country, including Australia, there is a network of families and secret societies that are the subsidiaries of that headquarters in Europe. And their job is to manipulate that country's banking system, financial system in general, politics, controlling any party that has a chance of forming a government or influencing policy, the business community, the transnationals and all that. And their job is to introduce in their sphere of influence, let's say Australia, what is dictated centrally at the centre of the web.
And would we have heard of any of these families?
Well, yes, you will have heard of some of them, the House of Rothschild, the House of Rockefeller, the royal families of Europe, who are ancient bloodlines going back to the ancient world. And the centre direction is dictated from this network in Europe. And in each country, their job is to introduce that in their particular sphere of influence. Now, over the last 21 years, I've been to over 55 countries researching this. And therefore, I've seen the same things being introduced in country after country at the same time, justified by the same excuses. This is where it comes from. This is where the coordination comes from. And the idea is this, quite simply. When there's a few of you, and compared with the global population, we're talking a very, very few, to get more and more power, you have to constantly centralize decision-making. And this is why at one point we had a tribal situation where people in the tribe decided what the tribe would do. Then lots and lots of tribes were brought together under what we call nations, and now a center point is dictating to all the former tribes. And now in Europe, and they want it in every part of the world, including this part of the world, through APEC and ASEAN, we have the European Union, which is the nations pulled together, dictated from a central point. And where they want to go in this, and it's been going like this for so long, people have now given it a name for decades, globalization. Yeah. That's what it is, centralization of power in all areas of our lives. And the more you centralize power, the more power you have at the centre to centralise even quicker, and the whole thing goes on even faster. And what they want is this, eventually, and they're already talking about it now. We've reached that stage. They want a world government that would dictate to every country. They want a world central bank that would dictate all global finance. The Roman Church has just suggested it, and so is this House of Rothschild billionaire gopher called George Soros. He's suggested the same thing, and when he says it, it's the Rothschilds speaking. They want a world currency which would not be cash. It would be a single electronic currency. This is about control. And the other thing they want, and this is very, very relevant to current events, is they want a world army. And what we've seen with Libya and these other countries that have been invaded is exactly the official situation they want to go to, where the world army is called in by the world government to go and sort out anybody who is not, taking orders.
So like the invasion of Libya, that was the Buckingham Palace and the Rothschilds and the other families. They decided that.
Absolutely.
And how much of your information comes from research compared with having these spiritual revelations that tell you?
The level we're talking about now, 100% research. When you've been to 55 countries and you've worked on this full time for 21 years, and not only that, when you see, as is happening now, my books from the mid-90s being read on the television news, in effect, in news stories that are happening. If people read a book I wrote in 1994, came out in 95, called And the Truth Shall Set You Free, and then they look at current events, they'll be shocked. This is not because I'm a prophet or sitting in a darkened room pulling it from the ether. It's that once you access, and the documents exist if you do the research and you meet the right people that can pass them on to you.
But you have had spiritual revelations, haven't you?
Well, yes, I have, and that, well, what you call spiritual revelations, yes, but they have been part of my own personal journey that's awakened me to the fact that the world is very different to the one that we are told we are experiencing. Thus, your attitude changes and your mind opens to all possibilities instead of being closed.
Is that explainable in words, what a spiritual revelation is like?
Not in the time we've got here. I mean, you go through profound changes in your perception of reality, and basically what you're doing is opening your mind.
Some of the, like, people would say, oh yeah, politicians are powerful and that bankers are powerful. They'd agree with you on that. But some of the things you bring up, like, say, the Freemasons or secret societies, they'd say, nah, they're just...
So why are they secret societies?
They're just, they're not powerful. They don't pull
Why are
strings.
they secret societies? Why aren't they open societies? Why do they have degrees within the secret societies, which means even the people on the lower degrees within a secret society, who are Freemasons or Knights of Malta or Knights Templar, whichever you're talking about, even within the same secret society, people on lower degrees do not know what the higher degrees know. The vast majority of people, if you had, say all Freemasons were in on the plot, I mean, it would be out from, there'd be so many holes in the dike. Because these people have families and children and grandchildren as well, who are going to have to live in the world these guys want to create. So therefore, they'll be spilling the beans. So you keep it fiercely compartmentalized, and you only give the real knowledge to people you know are absolutely watertight safe, are in favour of what you're trying to do, and thus will not spill the beans.
What about another thing you talk about, which is like satanic cults? Do they really exist?
Oh, absolutely they do. It's something that these bloodlines have been doing for thousands of years, right back into the ancient world. And, at one point, because of the way that humanity was at that time, they could do it openly. I mean, no one has a problem with the fact that, there was sacrifice to the gods and all this stuff in the ancient world, and they sacrificed animals, children, it's all there. The point is, though, these particular bloodlines never stopped. The difference is they can't do it openly anymore. Of course they can't.
But they still do it behind closed doors.
Oh, absolutely.
So what, like Buckingham Palace, the Vatican, the Rothschilds, they do like
big time.
Satanic rituals.
These bloodlines.
Like what?
Yeah. Well, it's a long story. This is why I talk for 9 hours. But it's something that is very, very important to them. Drinking blood is very important to them because of what the blood carries. And to get too bloody sick, but these people are sick beyond words, beyond extreme. At the point of a sacrifice, the victim is so absolutely beyond terrified that a particular adrenaline goes into the blood, and so immediately the person is sacrificed, they drink the blood with that adrenaline in it, which is like some kind of gives them a massive high. It's like a drug to them.
Because surely my Roman Church not involved in all that.
Oh yes, absolutely, and that's,
my Roman Church.
Yes, but that you see that's not. That's not.
Why haven't they told me?
I know exactly.
The Illuminati, these are.
Yeah, I mean, the Roman Church, as I say in my books, is the Church of Babylon relocated. And what we need to do, Bob, is to see the difference. This is fundamentally important between the people that follow a religion and the hierarchy. This is the point. The hierarchy that control the religion, because they're not the same thing. And so it's really a situation where, are we going to live what we claim to believe in, or are we going to just talk about it and then put the hierarchy first because it suits us, Oh, no, I don't want those people here. It's messy and all that stuff, Yes. This is a time where we are at a fork in the road, and we need to choose between if we want to keep our heads down, do nothing, hope it'll all go away, brackets, it won't, and live in this global fascist communist state, which is emerging by the day. I mean, police are getting more and more brutal all the time because they're the characters that they're now hiring. Or we can come together, put religious beliefs aside, racial nonsense aside, income bracket aside, culture and colour aside, and realise that if we come together as one people and respect our different rights to have different views. I mean, crikey, someone's got a different view than me. I mean, call the police. I mean, what? It's good that we have diversity, but not diversity in the sense that it divides and rules us, because that's what they want. They want the target population constantly fighting amongst itself on religious lines, political lines, economic lines, cultural lines, national lines. And while we're doing that, they're playing us like a violin,
Now we've got so much more to talk about. We're going to go to a song and come back after that.
Okay.
Sunday Night Saffron on Triple J.
Kiss the Sky, that's Sean Lee's Ping Pong, featuring Nino Moschella on Triple J with myself, Bob Maguire, and John Safran. Stick around, we'll be chatting to Minister Ray Comfort about his controversial anti-abortion documentary, plus Clementine Ford, the feminist blogger, will join us, and soon Chris Roseborough, I think it is, don't you? From Pirate Christian Radio. Sunday Night Saffron on Triple J. David Icke's in the studio with us, and
now you were part of the Green Party.
Yeah.
And how does your worldview play into things like climate change and the reaction to climate change?
I think climate change is a gigantic hoax. It's scientific nonsense.
Cardinal Pell was right.
And even now, well, more and more, not even now, more and more people, including one who worked for the climate change department in Australia for a long time, and it was called another name before then, are coming out and saying, I was once a believer, but it's a nonsense. Have you noticed something? That there is something that is never mentioned in terms of the causes of temperature change. It's called the sun. Have you ever noticed that when you go out and the sun comes up, it gets warmer? I mean, it's a nonsense.
And so are these 13 families, do they want to perpetuate this? To what end?
Actually, it would be interesting to explain something at this point, which would make a lot of pennies drop in people, because climate change is part of this, or the alleged human-caused climate change is part of this. They have a technique which they've used for thousands of years, and it keeps working, so why change it? And it's used on us now at different levels of society all the time, every day. And I gave it the name many years ago, problem, reaction, solution. And it works like this. You want to change society in a way that you know that if you just announced it openly, you'd get a massive reaction against you.